Well, hello there, and welcome to this edition of the DMZ America podcast number 96. It is Thursday, April 6th, 2023. Coming to you from the right, I'm editorial cartoonist Scott Stantis.
And coming to you from the left, I'm editorial cartoonist Ted Rall.
What shall we talk about? News, just a news desert, just a barren wasteland of nothing.
So bleak.
Oh my God.
Nothing going on. Nothing. So boring. So boring.
I got to, right out of the chute, I got to ask you with the Trump indictment and appearance at the courthouse, are you disappointed that there wasn't a mugshot? I love the reason. I think his attorney, when I heard it from the attorney, I went, so the attorneys are trying to fight against the mugshot. I go, oh, what kind of bullshittery is this? And then they said, why? They said, everyone knows what he looks like. And I'm thinking, they do. They have a point.
Yeah, that's they do know what he looks like. I guess that's the main purpose of a mugshot. My favorite part was they said people are really familiar with the indictment, therefore they know what he looks like. I'm like, he's the president of the United States. Well, not to mention before, he's one of the most famous human beings on the planet.
They don't know what the indictment is about, by the way. That's a lie. They finally released it, but we didn't get to see they didn't unseal it until just a day or two ago. I mean,
well, and we'll talk about what it says, or what it more accurately, what it doesn't say, maybe more precisely. In terms of the mugshot, apparently also, I didn't realize this, that happens in another building than the criminal courthouse. So they didn't, for security reasons, they didn't want to deal. This is the Secret Service put the kibosh on that. They said, we're not taking him to another building to get his photo taken. That's stupid. We're not doing it. So,
see, that's the other thing, is to have the Secret Service dictate this. I mean, seems preposterous to me. I mean, the whole thing, no one is above the law. Well, apparently some folks are, more above it than others.
He would have the story came out that if he goes to prison, he'll still have his Secret Service protection in prison.
Could you imagine that poor sap join the Secret Service, serious military background, take a bullet for the person you're protecting, and you have to go to prison?
Yeah, like, what did I do to deserve this?
Oh, shit. The food sucks. I don't look good in orange.
Yeah.
God, I did not hear that. That's, you know what? I think go through the indictment, but now that we know what the indictment includes, it's not just what, frankly, Ted and I have talked about on this podcast before, which is really ticky-tacky campaign finance rules that may or may not have been tripped over. It's a little deeper than that, 34 counts. And some of them actually, I think, have legs. Some of them, if he gets convicted, throw him in jail, like some of his cohorts who went to jail for what, Ted, 2, 3, 4 months. I mean,
yeah, well, like, people are talking about that, but it's not quite true that they're the same charges. Michael Cohen, among other things, went to prison for tax evasion. Trump is not accused of tax evasion at this juncture. The government takes not getting their dough very seriously.
Yes.
The thing is, Scott, I read the indictment. Did you?
No, I have not.
So the thing is, there are 34 counts, and each one of them is one paragraph long, cut and pasted, exactly the same verbiage. And they literally say, we, the grand jury of the people of New York, accuse Donald Trump of falsifying. And there'll be like line 172 of ledger number 1220, dated such and such. Then they do it again like that over and over and over and over. There's no statement of facts in the indictment. In other words, there's no grand theory of the case. That we only got from Manhattan attorney, District Attorney Alvin Bragg's press conference, where apparently this relates to hush money paid not just to Stormy Daniels, but also, I forget the other woman's name, and the doorman. Some dude got 30 grand for claiming that he had dish on Donald Trump's illegitimate child, what they used to call a bastard child. But apparently that story turned out to be false. It's all basically the National Enquirer agreed to engage in a catch and kill scheme on behalf of the former president. And what catch and kill means, I mean, I know you know this, Scott, but it basically means that, so you have dish on, say, Trump, you go to the National Enquirer, they say, okay, we will buy the exclusive rights to your story, $30,000. And then they never publish it. You have your $30,000, but because you've sold the exclusive rights, you can't go anywhere else. All you have to show for it is the money. You don't ever get to see the story published. That's catch and kill. But I mean, I have to say, the theory of the case here is that the legal theory is that each of these cases, I mean, there's no question that he cooked the books, right? The books are fraudulent. These entries in these ledgers are not accurate. There's no question about that. The question is why. And the theory is that he did this to evade some law. We're assuming that this is campaign finance, but it's not in the indictment. It's not in the indictment at all. And we don't know what it is. And so therefore, I mean, so it turns out, according to Bragg, well, in New York, we don't have to specify in the indictment what the law was. Presumably they would have to do that at trial, but they don't have to do that. And I'm like, that appears to be true. And that also appears to be Orwellian, because it makes it almost impossible for the president to prepare his defense, because he doesn't know exactly what he's defending against. Or maybe more accurately, it's Kafkaesque. He's accused, but he doesn't know what of. And he not exactly. I mean, basically it's like, well, you cooked your books, but why? And the why is the felony. If you don't have in New York an underlying law that you were trying to violate in order to cook your books, then it's just a misdemeanor and really handled with a fine usually. So I don't know. I personally think this is a very disappointing case. I think that maybe that just filing the bare minimum that's required under the law sort of misses the point when you're engaged in an act of a legal prosecution that is so unprecedented. I think it's like Bragg owed us, the American people, and the people of the city of New York more. He needed to have a fully fleshed out A+ bonus points, like balls to the wall,
I agree.
Unbelievable case. And I don't see that.
No, I agree, but there are some legal experts who I respect who are writing about this and are saying that there are some of the charges will stick, probably get to a conviction, probably lead to a fine, or jail time is not likely, but even if it is, it's going to be my comparison to some of the other Trump cohorts.
It's a first offense too.
Is it?
Well, I mean, he's never been convicted. He's never been convicted of any criminal offense before.
And you're going to see, I think you're going to start seeing legal piling on as well. You have a civil suit, of course, a woman who claims that Trump raped her and that there's DNA evidence, and that may be true because the Trump people are fighting tooth and tongue about giving up any kind of DNA evidence. So it's going to get uglier and uglier and uglier. Here's the other side of this coin, Ted. I mean, I've talked about it as well, especially off the podcast, and that's the glee, the gloating from people from the left, obviously, and people who hate Donald Trump, and I take no joy in this. I'm a never Trump Republican, so I mean that's where I'm coming from on this, and I don't take any joy in this, and it's also kind of stupid. I have to admit, I mean, some of our cartooning compatriots have just done some of the dumbest cartoons and the most just gleefully showing the mugshot. Oh, ha, ha, look, there's a mugshot of Donald Trump. Ha, ha, ha.
Which apparently there isn't, even more hilariously.
Yeah. I mean, I find it unseemly when Bill Clinton was under investigation and when he was impeached and there was a trial in the Senate. I didn't take a lot of joy in any of that. I was never a supporter of him. I didn't hate him. I didn't loathe him like so many people did and still do apparently. But Ted, I mean, do I mean, I understand it, but it's just gross. Or am I just being oversensitive?
Well, I mean, it's gross, and more importantly, well, it's stupid, and it's certainly counterproductive. I mean, whether you like it or not, Trump's supporters are capable of violence, are very agitated, and feel extremely beleaguered. Their whole narrative, they feel that they've been neglected, abused, treated poorly, viewed as like the scum of flyover country by coastal elites. And this plays into their narrative. And you could say, well, fuck their narrative. We don't care what they think. And you can say that, but you have to care. I mean, you don't want, as Sun Tzu said, you don't want to back your enemy into a corner. Always allow your opposing army a graceful exit, a route of escape. I think what this has done, it has brought the GOP together, right? I mean, look at Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence, and Nikki Haley. All have been forced to stand up and defend Donald Trump. And now Ron DeSantis, there's really no reason for his candidacy anymore, right? At all. And so he's now 26 points behind Trump. Trump has surged ahead. He's ahead of Joe Biden in the polls. He's not just, he is.
Polls, not in any of the polls I've seen, Ted, but okay,
really?
go on. Yeah.
All right. Honestly. Well, I had seen.
But in terms of the nomination, and it's what I've been saying ever since. Anyone who thought the nominee was going to be for the Republican Party was going to be anyone other than Donald Trump was smoking something, because no, that's not how it's going to go down. He will be if he's not dead, he's going to be the nominee. I mean, and that means even if he's in prison.
Yeah, that's true.
So real quick, what happens next? And we'll jump to the next segment, but where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, where we go from here, I mean, is first of all, the next hearing in this case is December 3rd. Supposedly, even though it's a completely procedural matter that doesn't involve Trump's having to do anything except to have an attorney show up, the judge has already sort of demonstrated a little bit of malice by saying that he should be prepared to present himself, which just seems completely unreasonable. Knowing the New York court system a little bit, and as someone who currently has a case pending in New York courts since 1999, I will tell you that I don't expect that hearing to take place in a timely manner on December 3rd.
I'm sorry, am I hearing you right? December 3rd.
December 3rd is the first hearing in this case. Now, the first Republican presidential debate is in August. So the campaign will be well underway by December 3rd. We will be after the little micro election that we're looking at in November. And I would be surprised, and this hearing is strictly procedural. It's mainly in order to schedule future hearings. It's a meeting to have more meetings. Now, I doubt that December 3rd meeting to have meetings will even take place on December 3rd, because the New York court system is a giant delay machine. Like, if you want to live forever and you're not allowed to die until you get your day in court, just file suit in New York court. You will be alive, or it'll feel like you've been alive for thousands of years.
Well, and that's always been the Trump playbook, is to delay.
It's also the defendant's playbook.
We could be talking about this on the 200th episode of DMZ America.
Easily.
Podcast.
I mean, so what's going to happen now is supposedly December 3rd, there's going to be this hearing. I doubt it. I was laughing when I heard some big league commentators, say, we could have a trial in the spring. I'm like, oh my God, we have legal cannabis in New York, but how fucking high this guy is going to, I mean, there won't be a trial. If there's a trial in this case, they won't be, I mean, at soonest 2026, 2027, like no time soon.
You're kidding about 26.
You think, well, it could be later.
I'm asking, what?
No, it's not. It's not going to be anytime soon. No, because I mean, first of all, every motion is an opportunity for delays, right? So first, the president's attorneys will, the defense will file a motion for summary judgment, which in my opinion should be granted, but probably won't be. Then there will be a denial of motion for summary judgment. Then the defense will file an appeal to the motion for summary judgment to the appellate division of New York Supreme Court, which means it will then go uptown a little bit, up to 26th and Madison. Then after that, if that's denied, then there will be a new set of hearings scheduled, probably for 9-12 months later. If any lawyer is on vacation, has a kid graduating from college, is ill, gets COVID, gets syphilis, whatever, they're not going to. Then they'll file for a continuance. Throughout this case, there will be one continuance after another. Then there will be an application for a change of venue to Richmond County, Staten Island, where the president has many Republican supporters. That will not be granted, not least because Alvin Bragg is the Manhattan district attorney, and he's not going to want to lose this case, lose it by having it shifted away. So then there will be a motion to appeal the denial of the.
Okay. We only have so much time.
Get the picture? Yeah, you get the picture. So that's how that works. So yeah, it's gonna be years. We're not going to see this case. I think all eyes turn to Georgia and to the Department of Justice in the Mar-a-Lago classified records case, where there's some new activity, where now apparently Trump went and personally inspected the boxes that were found at Mar-a-Lago after the FBI said, yo, we want our docs back. And he went in there. So they're looking into seeing if that's obstruction of justice or merely combing through the records in order to see if there's, which ones should be returned. It's not a good look, but I'm not sure it's really forms or ought to form the basis of a prosecution.
No, I don't. Well, especially given Trump what we've learned
about rights on anything.
No, especially the document story. Of course, now we're learning every president who leaves office, every vice president. First of all, it's shocked that they have access to secret documents to begin with. But now
I've heard that Clinton's cat took home some documents.
What was the cat's name?
Oh God, what was that cat? Socks.
Very good. Yeah. Which of course he practiced safe socks. So there's that.
It was a good name for him because he did have socks. He had white socks.
He did wear socks and occasionally wore socks.
He was a cute cat. And the things that cat has seen.
Oh my God. Don't even get him started.
And they pick up the smells from the carpet, Just saying.
On that note, we're going to come back and talk about progressives on the march. It was a good week if you are from you believe certain things. So this is the DMZ America podcast. I'm Scott, coming to you from the right.
Ted coming to you from the left.
And we'll be back.